You won't be, well, okay, you won't be seen, but you could be heard on here. So, whatever's on my screen, that's what would appear in the video. All right, if that's on YouTube. But, all right, this is what we did yesterday. So, a quick little recap of yesterday. It says, what is the square root of 21 to the nearest integer? So, I don't know the square root of 21, but what's a perfect square that it's close to? 25. What's another one? What's the one below it? 20. Nope. Somebody's saying it. Yeah, 16. So it would be 4. So does everybody understand that perfect squares are numbers like, let me write them down. Perfect squares are 1, 4, what's the next one? 9, 16, 25. 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4. See that? Those are perfect squares. So, which one of these is closer to 21? 16 or 25? 25. What's the square root of 25? 5. Now, that's without the calculator. Yesterday, though, I let them use the calculator. So, I'm guessing my answer is 5. Watch this. I can just type it in my calculator. And again, if you need a review on how to do that, let me know. Just the square root button, 21. And what does 4.5 round to? 5. It doesn't want a decimal, it wants an integer. And look on the board, I left that up there yesterday. Look under integers, see what kind of numbers those are? There's no decimals in that, so that answer would just be 5. Okay, what kind of number is the number 19? And it's saying what set of real numbers. Where does 19 go? It's rational. It fits in here. Is it an integer? Yeah, 19 would be an integer. Would 19 be a whole number? Yeah, it's a whole. There's no point or anything. And is it a natural number? Yeah. So I would list all 4 of those things. I would put rational, integer, whole, natural. I would write that down for my answer. Okay, here's another one. Let's look at the square root of 17. Okay, I don't know what that is. I know it's going to be, anybody have a guess what it's close to? What's the square root of 16? 4. What do we think square root of 17 is going to be close to? 4. But let's look. I'm going to type in the square root of 17, and it's a number, and it keeps going and going and going and going. It looks like it ends, but it's just because the calculator only had that much room. Okay? So if it's a number that goes on and on and on forever, what kind of number is that? It comes to this side. It's irrational, and that's it. So that answer is irrational. Okay. Let's see if I have another one to review from yesterday. Okay, it wants us to compare these two numbers. So the square root of 23, well, I need to find out what is the square root of 23. Again, I type that in, and that's 4.795. It keeps going, right? So I'm just going to do 4.7958. I'll just kind of go with that. What is 4 and 1/2? 4 point, anybody know what 1/2 is? 0.5. Yeah, this is 4.5. Here's the 4, and then 1/2 is 0.5. If you didn't know that, type it in. 1/2. It's 0.5. Oops, you can't see that. I don't know how to put a mixed number on my calculator, just going to be honest. The other types of calculators that aren't like this, you can do mixed numbers. This one, I don't know if it does mixed numbers. I do not deal with mixed numbers. I don't like them. We'll kind of see them a little bit like this first week or two. From then on, we don't do mixed numbers in here. We do improper fractions. They're way better. Okay, so is this greater or is it less than? Is it bigger or smaller? Bigger. So the 4 is the same, but 7 is bigger than 5. So 4.7 is bigger than 4.5. So I would pick A. Do we understand that? Yeah. This is like this is everything we did yesterday. It took us all hour to do all that. And then the last one. We are going to put these in order from least to greatest. So again, I have to know what each number is. I don't know what the square root of 5 is. I know it's close to, anybody have a guess? 2. It's very close to 2. All right, if you don't know that, just type it in. But several of these numbers may be close to 2. I need to know closer than that. So pretty close. Square root of 5, it is 2.236. I'll just write that. 2.236. 1.1, I can tell what that is. What is 1 divided by 6? So just type it in. 1 divided by 6 is 0.1 and then 6 repeated. So I'm going to write that down. That's 1.3. I'm good with that. Now the square root of 3. Let's type that one in. 1.73. I'll just go with that. None of these have negatives. Does everybody see all my decimals now? Which one of those is the smallest? That one has a 2. That one has a 1 out front. That one's a 0 out front. This one's the smallest, right? 1/6 is the smallest. So I'll write that down. 1/6 is the smallest. So let me mark that one off. Okay, which one is the next smallest? 1.1. So I'm going to write that one down. Mark that off. Which one is next? 1.3. I think I see my answer. Then which one? Square root of 3, and then it would be the square root of 5. So that would be my answer. Okay, I think that's everything we covered yesterday. Was that a lot? Yes, no, we're good with this, kind of? Okay, look, if you need help, I will be here all day. Even 7th hour, I have to go to PE for a few minutes, but if you need help during PE time, I'll be down there 10 minutes, and then I can come back up here and help if you're struggling with anything. Okay, that is that. Now let's go, that's the same thing. We're looking at properties today. I don't know if you've learned this before. It's kind of weird. This is stuff you just have to memorize, okay? You'll see this again one day in Algebra 2. But these are properties, and I will have a properties quiz. And I need to see, y'all have a quiz soon. I may do y'all's quiz on Tuesday, okay? So I'll give you a review tomorrow. We'll kind of go over it together. We'll go over it Monday, and you'll quiz on Tuesday. So let me write that down. Geometry quiz, and let's do, what did I say Tuesday? Algebra quiz. Okay. So here we go with, oops, too far. Properties. You can tell me if you've ever learned these before. Maybe so. I'm going to write them down a little bit easier than the book does. Okay. You may want to write these down as well so that whenever you get your worksheet, you'll kind of know what they are. Today's the 14th. Okay. So your first property is commutative property. So we have commutative property of addition. I'm going to give you an example. And then we also will have commutative property of multiplication. Takes a minute to write it. Does anybody know what it means to commute to college? It means you live from home and then you drive. You move, you kind of move around. Does that make sense? You don't live on campus if you commute. So say that you go to Northwestern and you commute. You might live in Coshada and you have to move around every day. You have to drive to Northwestern every day. That's what it is to commute to college. Does that make sense? Have y'all ever heard that word before, commute? Or if you commute, you have a long commute to work. People in the city, like Dallas, maybe they have a long commute to work. They have to move a pretty far distance. So I'm just saying that maybe these are properties and they're things you just have to memorize. So I try to help you find ways to memorize them. Commutative property just means you're going to move the numbers around. Okay? So it says that instead of writing 2 plus 3, what's another way to write that? 3 plus 2. Isn't that the same thing? What are they both? What are both of their answers? 5. Okay, that's commutative property of addition. You just move the numbers. Why are you learning this? Because it just helps you to know that, like, things that you can do with numbers. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 2, it's the same thing.
So does that mean that there can't be a commutative property of, like, division?
Yeah, well, so for division, they're not going to put that because division is kind of just like multiplication. Like, I could say instead of dividing by 2, I could multiply by half. That's the same thing. So they're not going to have subtraction because that's like adding a negative. So they just will use the words addition and multiplication in a bunch of these properties. The main thing you need to know is commutative property. I'm just switching my numbers. This one I'm adding. What am I doing in this one? Multiplying. So I could have 3 times 4. That's the same thing as what? 4 times 3. That's all commutative property means. You can just switch your numbers around. Are we okay with that? Yes. I know this might be a little boring, like as in like, I mean, it's just something you have to learn, you have to memorize it. Okay, the next one, this one is the one that people have trouble memorizing. It is associative property. And it's going to be the same way. You can be adding or you can be multiplying. Lots of words. So associative property, this one, or I'll give you all a second to write those down, and then I'll put your example. Okay, this one, associative property of addition, it would look like this. I'm not going to change my order. I'm just going to change my parentheses around. Remember how we did order of operations the other day, and you do what's inside parentheses first? This just shows you that sometimes you can use associative property, like your parentheses can move. Since I'm just adding everything, I could add these 2 first, or what else could I do? I could add those 2 first. That's associative property. When those parentheses move, that's what you're going to look for, associative property. I really don't know a good way to remember that. But associative property, the parentheses move. Multiplication one, let me see what they do. They just did 7 times 9 times 10. That's the same thing as 7 times 9 times 10. But you just change what you do first. Just move parentheses. That's associative property. I think we have 3 more today. 3 more properties. We'll add some more in a few days. Maybe like 1 or 2 more. What is this one? Identity property. This next one is identity property. There's 2 of those, of addition and multiplication. Okay. I'll give y'all a second to write that. All right, so identity, while y'all write that, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Yourself. Okay, that's who you are. That's your identity. That's so on this one, when you start with a number and you get that number back, that's identity property. So if I'm adding, somebody give me a number. 2. Okay, if I'm adding, what would I need to add to 2 to get 2? 0. That is identity property. Right? You get the same thing back. 2 plus 0 is 2. So let's do the same number 2 with multiplication. What do you multiply by 2 to get the same number back? 1. That's identity property of multiplication. When you multiply by 1. When you're adding 0 or you're multiplying by 1. Those are identity properties. Does that make sense, y'all? It's just when you're just trying to get the same number back. That's identity. It's like looking in the mirror. You see the same thing back. Okay? And I think, let me look at what the paper looks like. Because some of these I don't think I have on here. That is your... I do not have it on there. Let me look in here. Here they are. Associative, commutative, identity property, associative property, commutative property. I think that I've only got one left. I call it, my wording is a little bit different than theirs, but it's fine. Multiplicative property of 0. It's kind of a fancy word. Multiplicative property of 0. So let's see what these words are. What word is in multiplicative? Multiply. Yeah. Okay. Look at multiple or multiply. I'm multiplying by, and what number is in there? In my words, multiplicative property of 0. What happens when you multiply by 0? You get 0. So that's that property. If you multiply something by 0, you get 0. We'll do 10 times 0 is 0. That's an easy property to remember. So now I'm just going to give examples, and these are going to be your answers. I don't think I have property of -1. Do I have inverse? Oh, no, that's just an answer choice. Okay. All right, so let me give y'all examples, and then you're going to pick which one of these properties it is. Okay, we'll have a few more properties that I'll add to this, I guess, in a few days. We'll slowly get to them. So let's look at our first one. 42 times 0 equals 0. So what am I doing? I'm multiplying by 0, and I get 0. Which one of those rules does that? Multiplicative property of 0. That would be my answer. Okay, you just have to pick your answer. So multiplicative property of 0. There's another way they may say it. Let me see. They say 0 property of multiplication. They just say it backwards too. Okay, it could be either way. Let's look at this one. Y plus 2.5 plus 28 equals y plus 2.5 plus 28. What did I do there?
You moved the parentheses.
Moved the parentheses. Which one do we move the parentheses? Associative property, and I am adding, so it would be associative property of addition. So, and I abbreviate a lot. I'll do associative property of addition. Sometimes I get tired of writing these. It's okay if you get tired of writing too. It's math class. You can abbreviate in here. I'm great with it. Okay. What if I have 10x plus 0 and I get the same thing back? I'm not multiplying by 0. It's 10x, and I add 0, and I get the same thing back.
The identity property of it.
Yeah, identity property, and I'm adding. So I would put identity property of addition. There we go. Let's do another one. 4x times 1 equals 4x. Yep, I got the same thing back. Identity property, and we're multiplying. Of multiplication. Okay, let's do this one. Might be a little confusing. X plus the square root of y plus z equals x plus z plus the square root of y. My parentheses did not move. So we don't look at the ones where oh, you can't see it really good. Do y'all see that the parentheses stayed where they were? What moved?
The Z and Y.
The z and the y, those elements or those numbers or variables. So what is it when they move around? Commutative property of, and I'm adding addition. Commutative, oh, I forgot to put property. Commutative property of addition. How is that? Is that okay? It's just rules to memorize, basically. Just properties. There's some mental math. I don't do the mental math problems on here with that. And then I have simplifying. Okay, so I'm going to take a step back from properties. Do we kind of get this? I think it just takes a little practice. There's a few on your paper. Those are just, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 4 problems, you're going to just say what property it is. Then you have 2 problems. It says use mental math. Y'all, you don't have to use mental math. They're going to be easy problems. You're finding let's see. You're finding a total. What do you have to do to find a total for something? Yeah, you're just going to add some things together. Okay? It was just supposed, they're not too difficult on the problems. This next one says to simplify. Okay, so a little step away from this. What if I have 5 times 3n? Basically what they're saying is, with these properties, another way to write it is 5 times 3 and then n. What is 5 times 3? 15. Now, do I need to write this step? I usually don't. I just know this is 5 times 3n. What is 5 times 3? 15. Don't forget your n. Is everybody good with that? It's just simplifying. It's just putting things together. Told us to multiply. Okay, on this one, this is like combining like terms. I have a 4. I have a 7b. And then I have an 8. What of those terms match? What goes together? Do 4 and 7b, can I add those together? I don't know if you know this from previous classes, but like terms, they have to have the same variable. Does 4 have a b?
No.
Then I cannot add it to 7b. Okay? What can I add 4 to, though, in this problem? 8. So in our properties say that we can do that. We can rearrange things. Now, I normally don't write this step, but you can. You can just rearrange it. But what's 4 plus 8?
12.
Yeah, so I would have 12, and here's my 7b. And that's it. That's all I can do. 12 and 7b, they're not like terms. They can't be added together, okay? That's like saying if I have 3 oranges and 5 apples, how many apples do I have? I have 5 apples. Can I add my oranges and apples together to have more apples? No. Does that make sense? If this one's oranges and this one's apples, they're going to stay that. Okay? This is 12 and this is 7b. That's not the same thing, so I'll leave it like that for addition. Okay. This one's a little bit trickier. We actually do this way later. We'll see this again. 6xy over y. So, I'm trying to see how they do it. I'm just going to do it my way. What do y'all notice is in the numerator and the denominator that matches? Why? Do you know what happens whenever when they're like that? If you have y over y, do y'all know what happens? They cancel each other out. So what am I left with? 6x. They cancel out to 1 is what happens, okay? It's like, if you need to, type in your calculator 8 over 8. If you type in 8 over 8, what is that? 1. It canceled out to 1. That's what happened with those y's. Think pizza. If you ate 8 out of the 8 slices of pizza, you ate the whole thing. The one whole thing, okay? Anyway, so you can think of it that way. They canceled out. Let's do this one. This one might be a little bit more difficult. 8mn over 12mn. Do y'all notice anything that might cancel out? What?
M and N.
M and N. They both cancel out. Do y'all see that? They both have M's. They both have N's. Now, 8 over 12. I'm sure some of y'all hate reducing fractions from 8th grade, 7th grade. I don't know. Which we will kind of do some of that without the calculator tomorrow and Monday. But, oops. Let me take that off there. 8 over 12. Watch this. I would just press 8 divided by 12. And that would give me a decimal, but if I press math, enter, what is it? 2/3. How nice. It gives it to me. Okay? It will reduce your fractions. If you have a newer calculator like this, another great tool, there's this little green button and this little fraction bar next to it that's green, and it'll do like that. Okay, do y'all see how it created a fraction? And I could put 8 over 12 that way, and it would just keep it a fraction for me. Can you put M and N in here? I don't know. I've never tried it. Let me just see. I don't think so. 8. I would think this is going to mess up, but we'll just try it for fun. Oops. 8mn over 12mn. I have a feeling it's going to say error. Yeah. Okay, so that doesn't work. So you cannot put your variables in here. It doesn't do that. You have to know the m and the n cancel out, but the 8 and the 12 you can put in there. Okay. Do we need one more of any of those? Or y'all want to start trying these? Start trying. Okay, y'all ask questions because I don't know your previous knowledge. Okay, some of this is like supposed to build on. So if you don't know something, you have to tell me. The last problem I'll do with you on your paper. It just asks if it's true or false. Oh, you should be able to do it. But if you can't, I can help you on that one. It's a little weird. If you finish this and you have other sheets that you haven't done, we can also work on those. Okay? Oh, this is something else y'all can do afterwards. This is your quiz practice that I'm going to go over on Monday. That's a lot of them. I should give y'all this tomorrow, honestly. But I can wait till Tuesday if y'all want. But if anybody wants that quiz practice today to see what it's going to look like, I can give it to you. And then I can check all your answers. It won't be for turning it in. Those little quiz reviews are for you to see. It's like a practice quiz. Did you get them all right? This is today's